So you're having problems with fighting the queen bee in master mode. I'm here to help with that. So for an arena, you're going to want at least, similar to a Plantera arena, you're going to want 2 honey, pools on each side. Campfire is must, and I recommend potions such as Swiftness, Regen, and Iron Skin. You're going to want, the Flaming Mace is going to fend off bees that are swarming you, so you don't get stuck in the queen bee dashes. You don't get stuck in that. I recommend the space gun for mages and the mini shark for ranged. I'm running a build. I'm running the shadow build for the main reason that the speed increase, because the further the fight goes, the faster the bee gets, and you don't need all my accessories, of course, but I do recommend the silkworm scarf, or the worm scarf, because that damage, and the worm scarf and the Cthulhu shield is, I'd say those are a must for this fight. You can definitely do it without it. It's just going to be very, very difficult. You're gonna so when it's dashing, you're gonna want to be jumping in between your platforms. I did a little bit too much space in between my platforms here, so you can see that later in here I kind of was having problems with swarming by bees, and I was getting really screwed up. But you're gonna want to continue using the honey pools on each side. That regen is really, really nice, and I would have died here without it. Now, you probably are going to be wanting to be a lot more conservative with your ammo if you're doing ranged than I am, but I'm just using the normal ammo you get from the gun shop guy. So it didn't really cost me much, but I'd recommend, since you're in an enclosed arena, and you're dealing with the really, really small bees, if you're doing range, I recommend Meteor Shot. Now you can definitely do this with, say, for example, the space gun, in my opinion, did a lot more damage than the mini shark did, but I don't have the mage build with the armor and stuff, so you can't really spam. I couldn't really spam the space gun, but the mini shark still worked pretty good. This is about the point where I'd say a little bit further maybe, where I usually see that I'm using the mace to deal with the swarming bees, but I forgot to mention, you're probably gonna want one of those hellstone boomerangs. I forget what they're called. A flame ring. You're probably gonna want a flame ring, or basically the jungle equivalent of it, if you're doing like a pure melee build. You see that I messed up there a bit because of the bees that were surrounding me. You want to make sure that you keep killing those bees, because you most likely don't have the cobalt shield yet, because this boss is a lot easier than Skeletron is in master mode, and in my opinion at least. So that knockback is really gonna screw you up when it's dashing like this. this is really where it's going to start speeding up. The dashing gets, yeah, dashing gets really annoying at this time, and it doesn't do too much damage, so you'll be good as long as you're keeping a hold of the smaller bees and keeping your like that honey regen in, because that's really gonna help you a lot. One thing that I like about the space gun over say for example the mini shark when dealing with the bees, if you are doing a ranged or a mage build, the bees, you know, they group together a lot, so the space gun goes through them. The mini shark, the bullets just stop when they hit one of them. So if they're all grouped together like they are right there, I just didn't have mana at the time, you could have easily wiped them out. This is the part where I had the most trouble with, this is where I died a lot of the time in my earlier build, my earlier fights with it. Because of how quickly it's dashing, and the amount of bees it releases increases, and you have to deal with the bees, and it starts shooting the stingers at you a lot quicker than they do before, so you can see here. One thing about the regen, I do still highly suggest having a good amount of regen, including the potions. The heart lantern is not a necessity, but because I recommend using that on your health if you aren't 400 health. But if you are 400 health, you have extra ones, I recommend using those. Because your regen cancels out the poison that's on you, and that's really helpful. And just like that, you've killed the queen bee in master mode.